and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Yeah, it's about damn time. Are you ready? Hello. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight. I'm down here. And welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel on this Monday, the 22nd of April, 2024. Yes, we've survived 420. I don't even know. I didn't notice anything different because I don't partake. And, so I really did make a big deal about that Friday, and I'm not going to make a big deal about it today. We got a lot of news to catch up on, though. There's tons, and that's why I really worked hard to make sure I was on time today so I could get a lot in today. And so I am glad that many of you showed up this early because I'm not usually this early, but there's a lot of you already here, and I'm glad to see it. Let's find out who's here. But first, wait a minute. What is going on there? Okay, I can get rid of that. That's weird. I got some weird stuff going on my computer. So anyway, I need an upgrade. So shall we start? Because we've got a lot to talk about. Because we're giving our money away, and who knows what we're going to have to show for it? Except a bunch of. Wait, I should be careful. I should be careful because I checked the YouTube guidelines this morning, and it says somewhere in there that they will not monetize any video that promotes or disparages or something the war. And I'm not here to disparage or promote. I'm just going to tell you what I got. I'm just telling you what I got. So let's do that. But first, I'll say hi. Let's say hi to everybody. First in the chat over on Rumble, Mr. Avocados Diablo gets the bell. And a nice round of applause. He says, I had time to go back to bed while this show was starting soon even. LOL. Yes, I was, my ideal time frame for the show is 20 minutes before the show. I fire up the stream, right? And I just have it starting soon. And then my 10-minute, the 10-minute countdown, and then we start the show. And the reason I do that is so that people can get notifications, because for some reason it takes so long to get notifications on YouTube in particular. So I had all that done. I had the tweet ready to go. I had the locals ready to go. I had the Discord ready to go. I announced the show, got everyone here. And there's, we started out hot today. That's good. So anyway, also good morning, Mr. Mike Savage. Blarg. I raised the tone of that a little bit. First in the chat on YouTube is also Mr. Avocados Diablo gets the bell. And good morning to our friend Kesler. Wait, please tell me you have the story about the feds suing a gas station chain for doing criminal background checks. You know the thing the Fed does. I saw that story. It is trending. I probably should let me see if I can find that. I didn't necessarily have it in here, but I found it fascinating. Let's see if it was like one of the top stories this morning. Oh, goodness gracious. There's a whole lot of new stuff too, but I'm going to stick with what I have. But that story I do want to do. Now I can't find it. Well, woe is me. Anyway, let me say hi to everybody. I'll find it eventually. Also, good morning, Kesler. What's up, man? And also, good morning, my friend Trippy Liberty. What's up, brother? Good morning, Mike Savage. Blarg. Tyre Alexander. The Scourge is in the house. When I see that, Tyre, I just got to tell you, every time I see Tyre Alexander, the Scourge, I want to say the skirt. But whatever. Anyway, good morning, Zed the Snarky. Ravon Harris, what's up? Good morning, Mr. X. Well, early as in on time. Ravon, on time for me is starting the show at 9:00, but ideally it just depends on when I get home from work. So I try to start the show at time, and today I did. Good morning, Mr. X. I understand the morality of helping Ukraine, but I am so tired of folks acting like it's a sin to want that money to help ourselves first, if at all. Oh, spot on. Spot on. That's exactly right. That's where I'm at. Also, good morning, Anonymity T2. I'll be back. Good morning, Amazing Disgrace. Sure You Gospel. Furry Kitten is in the house. Simon Wolfwood. Maddie's here. Also, good morning, Tack Alpaca. Did I already say Attack Alpaca? No, I did not. So there you go. Hello. Good morning, Lord Stanhope. And my favorite Canadian, Jaeger Pony. What's up? All right. Real quick, thank you to people who've already shared this show. That would be, well, why am I notified? Now this is all messed up. Come on. I suppose I could put my face on the screen now. I've had enough introduction. There we go. Put my face on the screen. There you go. Thank you, Somnambule Nation. Share your gospel. Zed Snarky. Followed your Rumble. Really? You followed my Rumble. Also, good morning, Tyler, or thank you, Tyler F. All of you who have tweet out the show. Oh, and Maddie also. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. If you would be so kind, share the stream somewhere. Invite your friends. Say, hey, come hang out with us in the chat. It's fun. Whether it's fun or not. It must be fun because you guys keep coming back. So just invite people to join the show, and I appreciate when you do. So there you go. All right. And I do have my cup of reparations coffee. It's in the Vienna, Austria. Well, it's an Austria cup. It's not a Vienna, Austria cup. It's just straight out Austria. But it's one of my favorite cups that I got when we went, when we were in Austria. It's very, very ornate, I would say. Very ornate. Lots of cool stuff on it. So, all right. Asmati's in the house over on Rumble too. Good morning. Nice to see you over there. All right. Since I got a lot to do, let's just get on with it because I have to kind of Reader's Digest the whole day. Oh my goodness. Today is Earth Day. I know every single one of you are just thrilled to have Earth Day, right? Earth Day started by some communists, but I gotta tell you, when thinking of Earth Day, I'll put this on the screen in a second. Because this one, if we're gonna have Earth Day, I think maybe it's important that we have proper visuals and proper, just proper discussion of why we have Earth Day. And so I'm going to share this video with you. And it just popped up. I hope there's no, body parts that aren't supposed to be on here. But here we go. Let's see what this video is.
Hey, you know that feeling when you gaze
I know that feeling. Yes, I do. But that's a beautiful waterfall. Anyway, when you gaze at
a roaring waterfall, a blazing sunset, a soaring tree, or an animal that just captivates you to the spot. I like to call this euphoric rush euphoria, where the awe swells.
Is she one of these earth sexuals, or what do you call it, terrasexuals? That she likes to do things with the earth? Sorry, that freeze frame probably shouldn't be there. Okay.
Floods your body, where the noise of your mind simmers out, and you're anchored to nowhere but the here and now. It's humbling to be shaken like this, to remember our elemental ingredients swirling inside us since our early starhood, and to remember just how small we are in the grand, majestic tapestry of life.
Okay, that's an Earth Day message, I guess. Thank you. Earth is a great band. Dylan Carson was Kurt Kaboom's BFF, but does Earth really deserve a whole day? Well, I don't know. It should be, it's getting a day because, everyone thinks that we can save the Earth. Look, the Earth's going to be here forever, and we're not, until the sun explodes, of course. But anyway, this clip from the Earth Day Muppet special is quite haunting, especially knowing that nothing's changed nearly 35 years later. Oh, should we play this? What hasn't changed nearly 35 years later? I'm curious, because if nothing's changed 35 years later, then that shit they were saying 35 years ago didn't didn't mean anything, right? Because every 10 years they talk about the next disaster, that if we don't do this in 5 years, we don't do this 2 years, we don't do this 10 years, we're all going to die. Let's see what the Muppet message was about Earth Day.
What's all this stuff doing to us?
It's killing us off.
Yeah. You see, when people mismanage the Earth, they destroy our homes.
Hello, by the way, Reese
and the
Donald.
next thing you know, another species is extinct.
Oh, I'd hate to be extinct, even for a few minutes.
Okay, I'm not going to watch this. This is good. A minute of my time that I'm not going to waste. But I do want to highlight the Earth Day message from the President of the United States on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. He says, oh, wait a minute. Happy Earth Day. I'm reminded of the work we must do to protect our planet for future generations. I'm also reminded of the historic progress we've already made building a cleaner, healthier planet for every American. Have we now? Really? How have we done that, Joe? Because for every little minute step that you may have taken that you think will help, which generally doesn't, I'm guessing that there's country out there just mining and burning extra coal just to make up for it. But let's see what his message is here, because he has actually a message, and it probably has some music to it. But we'll listen to good old Joseph Rahim Biden and his Earth Day message, and then we will move on. Let's see what Joe says here.
Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day,
Today,
Joe.
I'm reminded of the work we must do to protect our future generations.
What might that be,
and
Joe?
continue
what
the
might
historic
that be?
progress
Hello,
we
Rock
made.
Hopper.
It starts with my Inflation Reduction Act.
Oh, it starts with the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, what does the Inflation Reduction Act have to do with Earth Day? I just don't know. Good morning, number one. By taxing people more and more. Yes, that is how you save us on Earth Day. Okay.
The most significant investment in climate.
Yes. Wait a minute. The most
clean energy. And
so, wait a minute. The Inflation Reduction Act was the most significant investment in climate and energy and environmental justice ever. What does that have to do with reducing inflation? It has failed miserably. It has failed. Whoa, what happened there?
environmental justice
Whoa.
ever.
Hang on a second.
Builds on our global leadership.
What the hell happened here? Did I just... Okay, I fixed it. There we go. Builds on our global leadership. Okay.
After we rejoin the Paris Agreement,
which has done nothing,
set standards to cut pollution,
and will do nothing,
quadruple the number of electric vehicles sold.
Yeah, that's gonna slow down pretty quick, though. I think. Oh, that's that electric Hummer that he drove that had 2 steering wheels, so he didn't really drive it. Hello, Jethro Hetero.
Sparked the U.S. manufacturing boom.
Really? Has it now? Hasn't. It's certainly sparked a boom of electric car plants in Mexico. By China.
That's created 270,000 clean energy jobs and counting.
Has it?
And today.
Has it? Kind of like Solyndra was jobs. What was that company? Not Solyndra. There's another company that did a Solyndra recently that we spent billions of dollars propping it up, and it's already folding. I can't remember the name of it.
For the first time.
Oh, the first time.
Americans can apply to join my American Climate Corps.
Oh, yes, that's going to be great.
As a pathway to a
can
clean
be
energy
great.
career. And we're also announcing a $7 billion award through the Solar for All program to cut utility bills for nearly 1 million low-income.
No, it will not cut any utility bills. I guarantee it will not. The solar is not going to cut anyone's utility bill. What are you talking about? Yeah, the electric bus company. That's right. That went to crap.
Households. Folks.
What about the bus company, Joe?
We're just getting started. On Earth Day, let's remember there's nothing beyond our capacity when we act together.
Yes, because humans control the weather. No, look, I am all for having a clean environment. I being a 70s kid, a 70s, 80s kid, right? I remember when people used to just throw their empty Burger King bags, just throw them out the window, and there'd be garbage everywhere. And you'd be like, why are these people throwing garbage on the streets? Because they exist, need someone else to clean it up. So certain things about the earth, I certainly more than happily support, as far as just, keeping your area clean and keeping stuff out. And, keeping the water clean, that's important. But not Joe's little tax plan called the Inflation Reduction Act. Yeah, not so much. Not so much. All right. So anyway, lots of people saying Happy Earth Day. Oh, Google Doodle. Today's Google Doodle features aerial photos of the planet's natural beauty and biodiversity. This is a Google tweet. And reminds us the importance of protecting it. So that's actually kind of cool. They found elements of the Earth that kind of look like the letters in Google. That's you know what? I think that's pretty creative by Google. I like it. That's a good one. That's might be the best one I've ever seen. All right, moving on. Let's move on to some other subjects though, because we could talk about Earth Day all day. Yeah, I know you just hoping for that. Now, something really important though. Today is also wait for it. Now wait, I better look to see what I better go. Wait. I better be careful here. Let me make sure, because I got to see what I'm clicking here. Make sure there's no. Okay, there's no. Okay, no body parts. Okay, cool. I can scroll a little bit. Today. Oh, the day you've all been waiting for. It's Lesbian Visibility Week. Yes, we need to see lesbians more, and it's Lesbian Visibility Week. I guarantee you, I will be watching. No, I won't. That's weird. Anyway, happy Lesbian Visibility Week. Now, this is weird. This is someone. This is going to piss off some lesbians, because I'm going to read this little graphic here. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to go clockwise. So it says lesbians who are femme. Okay, happy Lesbian Visibility Week. Lesbians of color, happy Lesbian Visibility Week. Butch lesbians, happy Lesbian Visibility Week. Mask or androgynous lesbians. Okay. Lesbians with disabilities. Yes, happy Lesbian Visibility Week. And lesbians who don't feel safe to come out. Now, why? Is it because you live in some small town in Wyoming? No one can, look, even the people who are not who are concerned about the gay people are not so much concerned with lesbians. But anyway, it's okay. Lesbians who are not out yet, lesbians of all generations, lesbians who just discovered their sexuality, lesbians who are asexual, lesbians who are non-binary. Well, how can you be a lesbian if you're non-binary? That's impossible. You can't be a non-binary means you're not, oh, good God. Well, I suppose, okay, wait, lesbian's a sexuality, which means your sex, which means female on female, people who want to have relations of the intimate variety with females. So I guess even though you're non-binary, everyone knows you're really a female, so you can be a lesbian. However, lesbians who are trans, that's the one that is going to piss off some of the lesbians because, apparently they disabled the comments on this. Lesbians who are trans, well, I guess if you are a trans man, aka trans identifying female, then you can be a lesbian. But not the trans women can't be lesbians because they're not lesbians. Anyway, happy Lesbians Visibility Week. There's lots of people posting stuff about lesbians and shit, and whatever. Martina Navratilova, high respect for Martina, because she knows that women who love women, but also women should be the only women playing sports. And I'm talking about women in my dialect of English, where women and female are synonymous. So there you go. Happy Lesbian Visibility Week. All right, next on the list, Jack Nicholson is trending because it's Jack Nicholson's birthday. Yay! He is 87 years old today. Haven't seen much of Jack lately, but one of his iconic roles was the guy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I can't remember the name of the character, but a prolific film actor, and I'm sure that he will be watching on Lesbian Visibility Week too. Yes, the double entendre was intended. All right, moving on. It's also Pat Tillman is trending apparently, and this has been 20 years today. Pat Tillman passed away 2004, Pat Tillman, former safety for the Arizona Cardinals, was killed in an ambush in Afghanistan. He had walked away from millions of dollars to join the Army Rangers and serve his country. Now, during that ambush, I believe he got hit by friendly fire, but it doesn't matter. He gave up his football career, a lucrative football career, and went to join the United States military, and ended up perishing while there. So, and there's also, and I guess someone's saying so, Chris Kyle, so 20 years ago today. So rest in peace, Pat Tillman. All right, also trending. Now, there's some other people trending, and they're for the reasons you'd kind of expect, and you'll know when I say the names, probably why they're trending, okay? Earth Day today, I need to cut down a tree. Asmati! Oh my goodness. Actually, I have some trees in my backyard that I can come down too, but I like adding trees. So anyway, Michael Douglas is trending. Now, normally when celebrities trend, and I ask you the question, why do you think this celebrity trends? You know it's usually because they're saying something shitty about Donald Trump. But in this case, Michael Douglas wants to tell you how great Joe Biden is, and that's why he's trending. So here's Michael Douglas talking about Joseph Rahim Biden.
Are you one of those people who wished he had bowed out, let the field choose somebody else? How do you think about that?
Now remember,
well, I think that I walk a little similar to him, and the people that I've talked to, and
wait. Michael Douglas, I can already tell that you are far more lucid than Joseph Rahim Biden. Just having you in this interview, I bet this interview not once did you lose your train of thought and just stop and think about it for a minute and say, anyway, good morning, TC, by the way, and a special K on acid. Welcome to the show. So anyway, here's Michael Douglas praising Joseph Rahim Biden.
Everybody that I have say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine. We all have an issue with memories. As we get older, we forget names, something. He's overcome a stutter.
This stutter myth is so out of hand. It's such bullshit. Now, overcoming a stutter. Now, let's say he did stutter when he was a kid and he overcame it. Okay. 70 years ago. Overcoming a stutter. Come on. Shut up.
In his life, and sometimes he might. But let's just say that his entire cabinet, including his vice president, everybody in his cabinet, would be more than happy to work with him again in the next term. I cannot say that about the other candidate running, because nobody in his cabinet from 2016 wants to be involved with him.
Okay, so there you go. Michael Douglas trending because of that. And so people are like, oh, Biden's sharp as a tack, huh? Actor Michael Douglas, who avoids saying Trump's name, wants you to believe Biden is sharp as a tack and very well liked. Okay, now, and then also another celebrity trending that is prolific and saying political things is John Legend. John Legend wants you to know that Donald Trump is a racist. Oh my God, where is he got on an interview with Jen Psaki, not to be confused with the warm drink. I guess Mike Singleton here sums it up. And now it's fascinating. John Legend explains why he believes Donald Trump is a racist, saying he's made it clear throughout his life that black people are inferior. Has he now? Now, I would love to see your receipts on this. He believes that to his core, in his bones, okay, you're projecting maybe something that you want him to believe, but also when you hear some of the stray comments he makes, he clearly believes in genetic hierarchy of humanity and is racially determined. So he has tried and true dyed-the-wool racist. Now, it's amazing it's amazing when I hear people say stuff like this, because if you hear the stories of, like Joe Brown, the guy who had the Judge TV show, he had Judge reality show. Joe Brown tells stories of how Donald Trump gave seed money to black business people in New York all the time, and then when they came to pay him back, he would just tear up the check and say, "No, go ahead and go be successful." Donald Trump was given an award by the NAACP of New York. Donald Trump used to hang out with black people all the time. Donald Trump dated a black woman at one time. So the idea that John Legend is going to project that Donald Trump is racist to his core, I have questions about it. Does he say some things that are, things that people his age might say? Here's John Legend saying it to Jen Psaki, not to be confused with a warm drink, on his whole thing. Here it is. Here he is. Here's the clip.
Well, he is a part of a two-tier system of justice, but not in the way that he thinks he is. He is getting way more concessions than the average criminal defendant would get. He's getting...
okay, this is regarding this two-tiered justice.
Delays. He's got access to all kinds of lawyers that are filing this and filing that.
Well, look. When you have the Justice Department attack you from multiple angles or different forms of and I don't know. Yes, it is weaponized. The weaponized legal system. And you are a billionaire. Yes, of course you're going to have those things. So would you, John Legend. If you were being charged with some things, you would also have access to these things because you're very wealthy. You're a very wealthy man. So it's just, that's two tiers. Sure, why not?
Delaying every trial. And
again, the trials aren't being delayed because he has some special clout. The trials are being delayed because the prosecutors in each of these cases have basically screwed up many things, and some of them waited to press charges to time it correctly, if you know what I mean. So yeah, of course there's he's got some different things going on.
Most people don't have access to that kind of lawyering, don't have access to the kind of concessions that the justice system will provide to you if you can afford it.
Okay, so there you go. That wasn't the clip that he's being trending for, but yeah, that's I gotta say it's John Legend. I don't know this whole racist to his core thing when his record with actual people, like you look when who's the singer? Her family member died, and he put her whole family up in his hotel for free for a week. I can't remember the singer's name. She's a Broadway star and then pop singer too. But anyway, here's how X summarized this. John Legend has labeled Donald Trump a tried and dyed-in-the-wool racist, citing Trump's past refusal to let black people live in his buildings, which that's a whole different, that's funny because that's his dad. And that, and Trump actually, I think they settled the lawsuit on that, and Trump was the one who allowed people in the buildings. But whatever. This and a stray comment suggesting racial inferiority. The statement has sparked heated debate on social media, with some users supporting Legend's claim and others dismissing it, highlighting the ongoing divide in public opinion regarding Trump's views on race and the impact of celebrity opinions on political discourse. So, it's kind of funny though when these people project certain things onto Donald Trump because they want him to be. Good morning, patio furniture and unacceptable views. And I always said rock hopper already. All right. So next, also a boxer is trending, Devin Haney, but Devin Haney's trending not because he won a fight, but because he lost a fight to this young man named Ryan Garcia. And apparently, I'll just show you the main tweet that I read about this. Oh, wait, it's gone. What happened to it? Okay, well, let me relocate it. Okay, hang on. This is the one anyway. Let's do this. I think this is it. There's a reason I'm highlighting this. All right, here we go. So, Ryan Garcia wins fight against Diddy pal Devin Haney and stated in his victory speech he put his reputation on the line for the kids while everyone else stayed silent. Now, Ryan Garcia defeated Diddy pal Devin Haney in their much-anticipated fight Saturday night in New York City. Garcia dedicated this fight to children sex trafficked by elites. And he stated in the post-fight victory interview that he put his reputation on the line for kids. So the irony is he's fighting one of Diddy's friends, so to speak. Garcia vowed in March to dedicate his fight against Haney to unnamed children abused by shadowy elites in a video he posted on social media. Garcia has trolled Haney by wearing a T-shirt of Haney in a pool with Diddy at one of his alleged freak parties during the preparation training for his fight. Diddy is currently under federal investigation for child sex trafficking and several other crimes. Just an FYI, in case anyone who is reading this has been living under a rock these past few months. Haney talked on record about how he used to work for Diddy's water company, Aqua Hydrate. Earlier this month, Haney also addressed attending Diddy parties, claiming there were hoes everywhere. Now, if you're not sure what hoes are, he doesn't mean that he's doing a lot of gardening. He's meaning women of ill repute, so to speak. Diddy, quote, Diddy had a bunch of hoes at his house. I made my way to the house and shit. The fuck, he said? I mean, there's hoes everywhere. And Diddy had some parties, whatever. So anyway, that's very eloquent. This person says, I hope that Garcia's final knockout punch that took down Haney wakes him up to the fucking reality that many of those hoes he referred to at Diddy's party were most likely sex trafficking victims. And there's nothing whatever about child sex trafficking. Congratulations to Ryan Garcia. God always wins and Christ is king. Pass it on. So there you go. That's why Ryan Garcia is trending, because he whooped that ass. Moving on, the Ivy League is trending. Now, you would think that this would be another sports story or something, but no, something is amiss at some Ivy League schools. And in particular, Columbia University and Yale University have had some very interesting happenings over the weekend. Here's a summary from X. Columbia has canceled in-person classes amid campus anti-Israel chaos. At Columbia University, escalating tensions and safety concerns for Jewish students have arisen due to ongoing pro-Palestinian protests, which have included anti-Semitic chants and open support for Hamas. Rabbi Zach Horowitz has advised Jewish students to return home until the campus is safe again. In response, Columbia University has announced a transition to virtual classes to mitigate the situation. This crisis has sparked a widespread condemnation of anti-Semitism and calls for action to ensure the safety and well-being of Jewish students on campus. So, it got very heated at Columbia over the weekend. A growing number of organizations and leaders have called on Columbia University to protect students amid reports of anti-Semitic and offensive statements and actions on and near its campus, which have been on the site this week, or has been the site of pro-Palestinian protests. So there have been arrests. There's been a lot of chaos. It's been all week, and pretty soon they will be chanting "Unplug the Jewish routers." Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So the protest and occupation by students at Columbia University continues apace despite attacks by the media and national government. This is somebody who supports the protest, as Joe Biden claims that blatant anti-Semitism is sweeping college campuses. Columbia authorities are also cracking down on the mobilizations, with the numerous students suspended and all classes now taking place online rather than on campus. The main demand of the student protesters is that Columbia divest from Israel and cut every academic cooperation. It's organized by several groups, including Columbia University Apartheid Divest, Students for Justice in Palestine, and Jewish Voice for Peace. So basically they've taken over the campus, and it's disrupting everything at Columbia. So now they're going to be doing classes online. Now, when I said, and here's a story, the Daily Wire. Columbia rabbi warns of extreme anti-Semitism, advises Jewish students to return home ASAP. Pretty much nothing new in this. But down here, Jake Tapper says, in response to horrific scenes of anti-Semitic harassment at and around campus, the Orthodox rabbi at Columbia, Barnard, sent a WhatsApp message to more than 290 plus Jewish students this morning, recommending they go home until it's safe again for them on campus. So he said, so here's the statement. What we are witnessing in and around campus is terrible and tragic, Buechler wrote. The events of the last few days, especially last night, have made it clear that Columbia University's public safety and the New York Police Department cannot guarantee Jewish students' safety in the face of extreme anti-Semitism anarchy. I guess some students have been attacked. Let's see. Here's the ABC New York article. Columbia University. By the way, today is the first day of Passover too, or the eve of Passover. Excuse me. Which was how did I skip that? Did that not? What happened to it? I accidentally shut that. So it's the eve of Passover. Columbia. New York Police Department officials say that the Jewish holiday of Passover, which begins Monday, may serve as a catalyst for extremist groups or individuals to commit acts of violence or intimidation. Meanwhile, Columbia University instructed all schools and programs to allow for remote learning on Monday, as tensions on and around the Morningside Heights campus remain elevated due to pro-Palestinian demonstrations. The university says it will will also increase security patrols and improve ID checks. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators returned to the campus Sunday to lend their support to the students who are sitting in with sleeping bags and tents on the lawn. A new video shows tense moments between NYPD and pro-Palestinian protesters as demonstrations continued outside of Columbia University over the weekend. Mayor Eric Adams released a statement Sunday saying, in part, "I am horrified and disgusted with the anti-Semitism being spewed at and around the Columbia University campus, like the example of the young woman holding a sign with an arrow pointing to a Jewish student stating Al-Qassam's next targets." Okay, now I was waiting to hear what the worst things that happened were. That's not right. Or another where a woman is literally yelling, "We are Hamas," or another group of students who are chanting, "We don't want no Zionists here," and I condemn this hate speech in the strongest terms. Supporting a terrorist organization that aims to kill Jews is sickening and despicable. As I've repeatedly said, hate has no place in our city. I have instructed the New York Police Department to investigate any violation of law that is reported. Rest assured that NYPD will not hesitate to arrest anyone who's found to be breaking the law. And that's the problem. So the speech part, whatever, but I guess the harassment of Jewish students probably is not good. And probably it is not good, period. It's an easy call, okay? On Saturday night, a clash with NYPD led to several arrests on top of more than 100 arrests on Thursday alone, including students for not tearing down their tents on campus. Students continued with their sit-in on campus with their sleeping bags. Their gripe is the handling of the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. Now, here's the problem. Columbia University is not the government Israel. Columbia University has nothing to do with Israel. Maybe let's say some investments in their endowment might be with Israeli companies. So what? It's just amazing how they think that the sit-in at Columbia University is going to do anything about anything that happens in Israel. Anyway, Eric Holder, former Obama Attorney General. Now, he said some interesting stuff about this. Eric Holder says Columbia campus agitators have legitimate concerns, and his law firm, Covington Burling, said their behavior would not be tolerated. Now, which apparently he's at odds with his law firm, Former Attorney General Eric Holder rallied behind Columbia University student protesters on Thursday as the New York Police Department swooped in and tried to clear the campus of green of disruptive protesters acting in violation of university policy. Holder, a Columbia College and Columbia Law School graduate, said in a tweet on Thursday that campus unrest, he calls it, is fueled by legitimate concerns about Gaza and described congressional hearings about the explosion of campus anti-Semitism in the wake of October 7th as irresponsible, unproductive witch hunt political hearing. What? Holder's defense of the Columbia protesters who were violating university policy and shouting anti-Semitic slogans, including globalize the intifada and NYP, KKK, IDF, you are all the same, does not square with his law firm. Cummington and Burling's decision late last year to sign a letter along with dozens of white shoe firms expressing zero tolerance for the disruptive anti-Semitic protests taking place on college and law school campuses across the country. So I guess, there, as far as protesting the war, sure, but targeting local Jewish students, no. And things like, you know, what the girl said, she hopes that this is Al-Qassad's next victim. Al-Qassad's the group that went out and murdered people in October 7th. Really? That's targeting violence to an individual person. Fight the war, not the people who are Americans that have nothing to do with what happens in Israel. Good morning, Those Ain't Real Dude. How you doing? So it's wow. This man is holding up the Hamas logo. I cannot believe I even have to say this. Get Hamas off campus. So yeah, there's a difference between supporting the Palestinian people and supporting Hamas. Isn't there? Or maybe isn't there not? If you're pro-Palestinian, are you pro-Hamas? Apparently, some of these people are. So that's the problem. Okay. Now, here's another one, too. Malmo Syndrome at Columbia. Leftist Islamist reign of terror intensifies with open war cries. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse at Columbia University, it did. Last night, the anti-Israel encampment and protesters included open war cries, some religiously based, and backing of more Hamas attacks on Israel. So yes, there is actual, what you would call, okay, maybe I should ask if you think that's anti-Semitic or not. I don't know. Pro-Hamas, Columbia students chant shocking slogans at Columbia. From the river to the sea, Palestine is Arab. There is no God but Allah, and the martyr is Allah's beloved. Israel, go to hell, resistance. Okay, now those aren't explicitly, well, maybe the river to the sea one might be explicitly. It's anti-Israel for sure. Is it anti-Semitic? I don't know. Anyway, breaking, the gate of Columbia University is currently locked, but with protesters inside and outside the gate calling for the lock to be broken, and with the this message, the gates of Al-Aqsa were made of iron, pinned in the Instagram live. I bet it won't. What? I don't know what that says. Okay, he put a note here. I've seen claims without evidence that the person below was a plant. I'm leaving this tweet here because it's just a claim. I've seen others claim it's one of the students previously expelled. If this gets sorted out, we'll update. I heard outside Columbia University last night. Never forget the 7th October. That will happen not one more time, not 5 more times, not 10, not 100, not 1,000, but 10,000 times. The 7th October is going to be every day for you. I would say it's definitely anti-Israel. Thank you, by the way, Advocatus Diabli. By the way, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, AD, dropping a small bullet in the tip jar. Finally, someone sponsored the show. I love it. So do they want them to invest in Palestine businesses instead? I am not sure there's much of a return on Ahmed's used rubble sales, but I am not an investment strategist. Thank you for that bit of investment wisdom. Oh. Delayed reaction from the crowd. So here's another one breaking. This is the last night speech from Thai Columbia University Gaza Solidarity Cabinet. Let it be known that it was the LS flood that put the global intifada back on the table again. And it is the sacrificial spirit of the Palestinian freedom fighters that will guide. Look, for those who are not in the know, I'm going to pull up the definition of intifada for those who don't know, because this is important. And we'll just use the Britannica version here. Intifada, either of two popular uprisings of Palestinians in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip aimed at ending Israel's occupation of those territories and creating an independent Palestinian state. Well, no, they've rejected an independent Palestinian state in harmony with Israel. They want to end Israel. The first Intifada began December 1987, ended in September 1993 with the signing of the first Oslo Accords, which provided a framework for peace negotiations between Israel and Palestinians. The second Intifada, sometimes called the Al-Aqsa Intifada, began in September 2000. Although no single event signaled its end, most analysts agreed that it had run its course by 2005. Two uprisings resulted in the death of more than 5,000 Palestinians and some 1,400 Israelis. And it was started by the PLO, by Yasser Arafat, and then they got concessions and whatnot. So anyway, that explains that. So, and then they talk about that Columbia is shutting down again. So that's at Columbia University. Now, also at Yale University, there are problems. There's students chanting "Viva, Viva Palestina" as they remove an American flag and they cheer when the American flag hits the ground. Okay, so they're taking down the American flag in the United States, complaining about Israel. Someone here says Yale's Hamas chapter is being evicted. So anyway, at Yale University, a pro-Palestinian protest escalated into violence, leading to the arrest of at least 16 people, including students, and the stabbing of a Jewish student journalist in the eye with a Palestinian flag. The incident occurred during a larger anti-Israel movement on campus, with students expressing opposition to Israel and the United States. Police and riot gear were deployed to manage the situation, resulting in further arrest. The event has sparked discussion on campus safety, freedom of expression, and the broader political context. So, and then here it is. After the arrest, students at Yale are blocking the main intersection on campus. There's a footage of that. Okay, well, that's one of the more creative chants I've heard in a while. Get up, get down. We're anti-war something in this town. Are they though? Are they though? Because this whole thing was started by an act of war. I'm just saying. The whole thing was started by an act of war. So I don't know. It's holy shit. It's going crazy. So Breitbart article on this. And this is so they're talking about a war between Israel and Hamas, or Israel and the people in Gaza, whatever. And yet anti-Israel protesters at Yale University tore down an American flag on Friday night as they occupied the campus in what Jewish students have called an act of intimidation against them and against the university. The video circulated on social media on Saturday and Sunday with keffiyeh-clad activists whooping and cheering as they tore down the Stars and Stripes. Mob of Yale students shouted "Viva Palestina." That's the one we just saw. Police have used handcuffs to lock the doors from Bernanke Plaza to the Schwartzman Center closed. There are police in the rotunda of the building. Protesters have taken the American flag down from the flagpole at Bernanke Plaza. The action to take down the flag was not sanctioned by the student coalition that organized the bulk of Friday's demonstration, an organizer told the news. So again, I'm guessing that the people who tore down the American flag were probably some of those like opportunist types who just, they like to join in on chaos. Many anti-Israel protesters also hold anti-American views and have targeted Christian symbols. Yale Daily News reported on Saturday night more than 500 protesters gathered in Beinecke Plaza. At 12:18 a.m., protesters announced that no arrest would be made that night. There were also pro-Israel counter-protesters present from around 11:32 p.m. to around 12:50 a.m. time, largely remaining on Beinecke Plaza in front of the Woodbridge Hall. At peak, about 25 counter-protesters were present. An organizer of the encampment, who requested anonymity due to safety concerns, told the news that the group will be staying on Beinecke Plaza overnight and reiterated that they will continue their encampment on the plaza until Yale meets their demands for disclosure and divestment from Israel. Again, what are you accomplishing? Nothing. Now, the Jerusalem Post reported that a Jewish student had been jabbed in the eye with a flagpole, and that Yale protesters were holding signs honoring a dead Palestinian terrorist who had captured and murdered an Israeli. Anti-Israel protesters at Columbia University and other Ivy League schools have also occupied the campus illegally, according to video captured by Middle East Media Research Center, which is MEMRI. They do a lot of this kind of stuff. The Columbia demonstrators have shouted pro-terrorist slogans. So, again, welcome to the Ivy League. PJ Media story on this, if it'll ever show up. There we go. Uh-oh. What the hell happened there? Nope, that's not it. That did not work. Okay, well, I'll just move on. Now, the picture in the thumbnail today, as you can see here, is a fascinating sight that I really never want to see. And yet, I know that if the flags were of a different country, there'd be, well, there's been a lot of criticism on Congress for this. But anyway, the House of Representatives approved this like $90 million bill, or billion with a B, where they're sending $60 billion to Ukraine, which is actually just going to defense contractors in the United States, and lots of Congress people are invested in the defense contractors. So it's a way to launder the American people's money into the pockets of Congress critters. But anyway, Israel for $26 billion, and Taiwan $8 billion, and it's ignited a lively debate on social media. The discussion centers around the contrast between these significant foreign aid allocations and the ongoing issue of student loan debt in the United States. Participants expressed frustration, humor, and political commentary, criticizing the government for not addressing domestic issues like student loan debt. Oh no, Biden's giving away the student loan debt too. He's letting people off left and right on that too, which could cost the taxpayers about $500 billion, according to some calculations. The conversation reflects on a broader public sentiment on the issue, some users specifically targeting the Biden administration for unfulfilled promises regarding student loan debt relief. But no, they forget the student loan debt relief. Pay your debt. It's the money that's being forgiven is going to households that make more than the people who didn't go to college. So anyway, they passed this bill. And here's the trending topic on Ukraine. So, and Matt Walsh is saying every single one of these people should be expelled from Congress and permanently exiled to Ukraine. Go live in that country if you want to fly its flag. So this was the scene. I know you probably saw this over the weekend, but I kind of avoided it, and then I saw this. This is what happened in the halls of Congress when they passed this bill. Here is your Congress critters. They're flying Ukraine. They're flapping around. All the Democrats had these little Ukrainian flags that they're flying around. Now, I don't want to make this a commentary on that particular war. Okay. I want to make it a commentary about what are our priorities and why. What I don't understand is, and someone, I had a tweet that was much more eloquent than mine. Now, for example, here's someone, $60 billion of our hard-earned dollars for Ukraine. This is probably indicative of what I'm thinking about this. This is pretty good, actually. Let me, is there a way to expand this? That's about as big as I can make that. Maybe I can do it this way. There we go. Full? No, that's big and small. Oh, let's just try this. Here's this is kind of indicative of how I feel about this. So let's watch this. This is about a minute long. What up, GDSOB?
You know, I've never seen Congress wave the American flag like this. But let me see if I get this right before we go on air. So they just passed the bill to send...
Now this is a guy who does funny videos. This is not a real news person, but the first statement there, I've never seen Congress wave American flags like this, like so excited and waving American flags. They're waving Ukrainian flags. The Democrats are. Okay. This is a parody news guy.
But let me see if I get this right before we go on air. So they just passed the bill to send $60 billion to Ukraine, so Ukraine can kill even more of its own citizens by forcing them to the front lines. So the Congress is supporting the genocide of Ukrainians, and they are waving the Ukrainian flag while doing so. Anything else in the bill in support of genocide? $26 billion to Israel. That's not genocide. Don't worry about that. Anything else in the bill in support of the American people? Zero. Border protection. Nothing? Yeah, you know, I just don't think it's a good idea to report any of this.
Okay, so anyway. Now, the intended irony and humor aside, why? Why are they so intent on this? And my theory has always been on this Ukraine thing. I blame the entire episode on Hillary Clinton. Now, why would I blame all of this on Hillary Clinton? Because Hillary Clinton, in the 2016 presidential race, decided to try to pin some phony bullshit of Russian election interference on Donald Trump. She paid a foreign spy to collaborate with Russian disinformation experts, I would call them, who created some bullshit story about Donald Trump and hookers and Russians and the Russians supporting Donald Trump and blah, 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 blah. When in reality, the Russians probably supported Hillary Clinton. They didn't need a wild card. They didn't need someone that they could not predict and could not coerce using things that are green pieces of paper, okay? And also just any other type of male that is of the very dark of, you know, for example, the black variety of male, if you know what I'm saying. And so she tried to make this whole thing that Donald Trump was collaborating with the Russians, right? So from the Democrat perspective in particular, that became a rallying cry that Putin's this terrible man, Putin this and Putin that. And so for 4 years, and still even to this day, there was this demonization of the Russians and trying to equate the Russians with Donald Trump. Now, if you think about this, it's not like our American media lives in isolation where only Americans hear American media. I'm pretty sure that during this massive 4 or 5 years of the demonization of the Russians and their government, I would say that Putin's probably like, what's going on here? They've got this like this total Russian xenophobia against us, and so maybe, and then the whole the Ukraine impeachment thing too. That's pretty wild, and so I'm confident that the reason that Democrats are so hyped about Ukraine is because, again, Ukraine is fighting Russia. Now, nobody wanted Russia to invade Ukraine, and I think that's a terrible thing too. But the idea that because you can stick it to Russia, all these Democrats, well, I'm talking about 4 or 5 years. I'm just talking about the Trump stuff, because remember when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State and she made a fool of herself with that red button, reset button. Remember that? The reset button? That was one of my first videos. It was in one of my first videos. Remember, she was trying to improve relations with Russia as the Secretary of State. Now, I'm pretty sure they saw right through her stupid shit. But since then, she decided to make Russia the enemy, okay? And even, gosh, I remember even when Mitt Romney was running against Barack Obama, and they were talking about, who's the greatest geopolitical foe, and Mitt Romney said the Russians, and Barack Obama was like, oh, well, I think the 1980s are calling, and they want their propaganda back, or some shit like that. But because of Hillary Clinton, Russia became our mortal enemy, and all the Democrats made the Russians our mortal enemy because Hillary Clinton convinced some idiots that they tried to help Trump. And so, since they're our mortal enemy now, anything that you even hint, if you're not 100% on board for, I guess, ending a bunch of Russians, you are a Putin puppet. You should go to Russia. You're a Russian sympathizer, which is ludicrous, but you know what? That's their rhetoric. And so this latest thing where they're just going to fund Ukraine to the hilt, they've convinced enough Democrats that this is important. And unfortunately, they've also convinced enough Republicans that this is important, especially the I would say the entrenched, swamp class Republicans and the McCain Republicans like Eye Patch McCain and whoever, convinced that that's the reason. Now, and the ones that aren't on board, of course they say, well, they should just move to Russia. You just Putin puppets, right? Because you're propagating Russian propaganda, which is not the case. It's just that we have our own problems that are much more pressing than a country that we don't even have any kind of military alliance or agreement with, that we're just willy-nilly sending hundreds of billions of dollars to keep their war going. Is the strategy just to let the Russians use up all of their weaponry and have to remanufacture stuff? Are we just trying to whittle down their supplies by letting them bomb the shit out of Ukraine and kill a bunch of Ukrainians? Now, what's interesting about this too, because I'm not sure, I'm curious if this was really a war, which it is. I mean, it is, but it's interesting how, why is that there? That shouldn't be there. Wait, I'm sorry. Okay, that got out of order. It's interesting how in Ukraine, in Kiev, okay, let me show you a scene from Kiev, and this was on CBS Morning News, so that's why I'm surprised that I'm surprised they even reported on this. But here's what's going on in Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. There's a war raging, right? And we needed $60 billion to send to the war effort in Ukraine, and they're going to, give them more weaponry, and they're going to give them more people their things to take to the front lines to shoot at them and let them get blown up and shit. But here's Kiev.
Despite the rockets, Ukraine's nightlife is rocking. The bars and clubs are full. The place is jumping, music pumping, drinks flow freely, and they dance like there's no tomorrow. And it's not just here. Fun fact, there are now more bars and restaurants in the capital than before the start of the invasion.
Now, how does that happen? How does that happen? Oh, by the way, where's the other one here? There's another one that's no, not this one. Not this one. Oh, it's gone. Maybe there was another one. Apparently, one of the lawmakers, in Kiev. Okay, Kiev is the capital. Well, let's see. House voted for Ukraine aid this week. Exposed the deflation of Trump support inside the GOP. No, it didn't. Oh my God, David Frum, anything to spin. There's a lawmaker in Kiev who just bought the first. There's some new Rolls Royce. It's an $800,000 Rolls or $600,000, $800,000 Rolls Royce car. Here it is, right here. A lawmaker in the poorest country in Europe, Ukraine, is the first proud owner of the $600,000 Rolls Royce Spectre. Now, where's that money coming from? No other EU lawmaker can afford one. Anyways, democracy and defeating Russia, right? And then Lindsey Graham seems to be under the severe misimpression that he and J.D. Vance are Ukrainian senators. I challenge Lindsey Graham to talk to the American people and listen to what they think, or he could do us all a favor and move to be with his true countrymen in Ukraine and never come back. Because he said to Graham during that fight over the bill, said, I challenge J.D. Vance to go to Ukraine and get a briefing from the Ukrainian military and talk to the Ukrainian people, then tell me what you think. Quit talking about things you don't know anything about until you go. So, yeah, Lindsey Graham, of course, is in that McCain wing of the Republican Party, the entrenched swamp-type creatures. Sometimes he does good things, sometimes he doesn't. So anyway, I'm not advocating nor detracting from that war. I'm in the camp of it's none of our damn business. Now, also in the news, apparently Putin, that'd be Vladimir Putin, the president or whatever he is, prime minister, whatever they call him in Russia, he's the leader. Yesterday, Russian President Vladimir Putin was urgently summoned to the Kremlin for a late-night emergency meeting, the reasons for which remains undisclosed. This unexpected event has sparked global concern and speculation, with Putin reportedly rushed to the Kremlin in a high-speed motorcade amidst pouring rain. The unusual nature of the meeting, coupled with the lack of information about its purpose, has led to heightened curiosity and concern among the public and international observers. So, trying to imagine what could be so urgent to cause Putin to rush to the Kremlin on Sunday night. A quick survey of Russian press, and I found one report that confirms something that I had thought might happen now, that the aid money and weapons are certain to come in days. So it's related to the United States maybe coming up with that aid money, which we don't have. All right. So let's move on. I'm going to move this out back over here somewhere so it's not in the wrong order. All right, let's move on because there's a couple more things that were trending, and then I'm probably not going to do a lot of articles today. Dude, Putin speeds because Putin can speed. Yeah, well, that too. His motorcade can do whatever the hell it wants, and I dare anyone to try to stop him. All right. There is also there's another thing trending, and you'll hear all about it today, I'm sure. Is pecker. Yes, pecker is trending. Now, not Woody Woodpecker, not the euphemism pecker, not grandma who would peck you on the cheek pecker, but none other than magazine publisher David Pecker is slated to be the first witness this morning, probably on the stand right now, in Trump's criminal hush money trial. The New York Times reported Sunday, setting the stage as the first criminal trial of a former president gets underway today. The fact that Bragg, now this is Jonathan Turley saying the fact that Bragg is starting with David Pecker to discuss an affair not directly involved in the alleged crimes is telling. With dubious criminal theory, diffuse facts, and delayed charges, the case will focus on a different alleged affair and hush money payment. It is reminiscent of the old story about the man who comes upon another man in the dark looking for his wedding ring. Sympathetic, the man joined the stranger on his knees and looked for almost an hour until he asked the man if he's sure he dropped it here. Oh no, wait a minute. Oh no, the stranger admitted, I lost it across the street, but the light is better here. That's pretty good. Now someone here is asking, Professor, are you saying that Bragg doesn't have a case and that his goal is for the public to focus on an allegation that could inevitably hurt the Republican presumptive nominee? Yes, that's exactly what it is. All right. So anyway, David Pecker is testifying today. Is this it? No, I wanted to save that one for the Canadians. Hang on, I'll put this back here somewhere. All right. So anyway, former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker is reportedly the first to testify at the Trump trial. He's the former publisher of the National Enquirer. Pecker, whose tabloid reportedly engaged in catch and kill practices to bury damaging stories about Trump, will be the first to take the stand after opening arguments in the trial on Monday. A source close to the matter told the New York Times. And then Trump is facing 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree in relation to alleged hush money payments made to an adult entertainer star Stormy Daniels during the 2016 presidential election. Blah, 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 blah. The trial that is probably the weirdest of the bunch. Although the one that Letitia James brought was pretty much bullshit too. Now, this is interesting because Liz Cheney is also trending because she opened her mouth, and so lots of the people on the left who love Liz Cheney now because she hates Trump are spouting off about it. Former President Donald Trump immunity claim, particularly concerning actions related to the January 6th investigation and criminal case in Georgia, is being debated by the Supreme Court. Liz Cheney has urged the justices to rule on the matter swiftly, arguing that the public deserves to hear all the evidence in open court and that Trump should not be granted immunity. The outcome of this case could have significant implications for Trump legal battles and accountability of future presidents. Well, again, so the idea that a president does not have immunity for official actions, that's ludicrous. But the question is were some of these things that the president was doing in the purview of the president of the United States? For example, the election integrity stuff. Is it would it be the responsibility of the president of the United States to investigate whether or not there were illegitimate things happening in election? Not that I'm saying there was or wasn't, YouTube, but are those things that are under the purview of the executive branch of the United States of America? And I hate to break it to you, Liz, some of those things were. Now, all of them, I don't know. I don't have a list. But so it makes sense that a president would have immunity from official acts as president. You can't charge somebody criminally for some official acts that a president has done, as long as they were within the purview of the president and the executive branch. So I don't know what she wrote, but I don't care because it's Liz Cheney and she can go suck on a hard-boiled egg unshelled. All right. But it's important, though, that Trump's fate could be determined this week The Democrats' lawfare strategy against Donald Trump may be thwarted this week as the Supreme Court is poised to hear arguments on Trump's case on presidential immunity on Thursday, which could affect several of Trump's trials. The question before the justices is whether Trump can be tried on criminal charges that he conspired to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Explains SCOTUS blog. I'll put a link to that one, but I'm not going to go into it. The court's answer will determine not only whether Trump's trial in Washington, D.C. before U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan, originally scheduled for March 4th but now on hold, can go forward, but also whether the former president's trials in Florida and Georgia can proceed. Not applicable in this case is the ongoing trial over Trump's non-disclosure agreement in New York City. A grand jury indicted Trump last summer on 4 counts stemming from the special counsel Jack Smith's probe into the Capitol riot. Smith accused Trump of sowing widespread mistrust by spreading falsehoods about election fraud, and engaging in 3 criminal conspiracies targeting the electoral process. No one has ever been prosecuted for sowing, quote, widespread mistrust in the 2016 election with bogus allegations of Russian collusion. Oh, right? So, Trump attempted to assert presidential immunity, but Judge Chutkan rejected this play in December. Following this denial, Smith petitioned the Supreme Court to address Trump's immunity claim promptly, bypassing the D.C. Circuit's review, but the Supreme Court declined this request. The D.C. Court later upheld Chutkan's ruling, rejecting Trump's immunity assertion. They set a deadline of February 12th for the decision to take effect, allowing the criminal case against Trump to proceed unless he sought Supreme Court intervention. Trump did, and the Supreme Court ultimately agreed to take up the matter, fast-tracking the case for its April session. So that gives you the lowdown on that. And then there's the SCOTUS blog article will be in the links also. All these articles will be in the links today. Now, here's an interesting one, though. 2 former high-profile Trump critics now admit it. His foes are the real threat to democracy. Oh, who's the threat to democracy? Is it Donald Trump? Yes, you're right. It's a republic, not a democracy, but this is no time to quibble. 2 high-profile Trump critics, one of whom was even touted as a presidential candidate who could topple Bad Orange in 2020, have just shown that they realize that the real threat to this tottering republic is coming not from the man they once happily joined in on hating, but from his enemies. First, it was the man whom Tucker Carlson indelibly dubbed the creepy porn lawyer, Michael Avenatti. Avenatti, the porn star Stormy Daniels' former lawyer, is now doing time for a variety of crimes, including theft and fraud. This has given him some time to think about the man whose indictment he called for back in 2018 and whom he thought he could defeat for the presidency in 2020. Avenatti has thought so much about the whole thing that he has done a 180 and completely changed his positions. Now he's even willing to testify on Trump's behalf. Oh my God. Quote, the defense has contacted me, Avenatti said Saturday from the minimum security prison in Los Angeles where he's doing his time. I'd be more than happy to testify. I don't know that I will be called to testify, but I have been in touch with Trump's defense for the better part of a year. Avenatti said that his change of heart had come about because he realized that the whole thing was a charade. There's no question the trial is politically motivated because they are concerned that he may be reelected. If the defendant was anyone other than Donald Trump, this case would not have been brought at this time, and for the government to attempt to bring this case and convict him in an effort to prevent tens of millions of people from voting for him, I think is just flat out wrong. It's atrocious. This is Michael Avenatti? Who the hell? No doubt about it, the political persecution of Trump is so clear that even those who detest him would never vote for him and would never vote for him in a million years should be outraged about it. The fact that they are not is an indication of how much the American public square has already deteriorated. I want to know who's the second one. Oh, Bill Barr. Yeah, Bill Barr said that this is ridiculous too. But Michael Avenatti is saying this is bullshit. Bullshit. It's bullshit. So there you go. And then again, Michael Avenatti claims he's willing to testify in the Trump hush money trial. So that's wild. All right, let me Thank you, GunFox61, for sponsoring the show. And GunFox, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much, sir. Dropping a Hamilton in the chip jar. And it's not that sexy. Oh, we got him. Okay, we'll do this one next. After I have one for the Canadians, we'll do GunFox's articles. I'm going to skip all the rest because there's just too many, and then we'll go on. So I have one special. Oh no! Oh, that's Karen Bass. Wait, where's the Canadian one for the Canadians? What happened to it? Oh, here it is. Oh, now this is what's this guy? This is Kevin. What the hell's Kevin something? He's the rich guy from Shark Tank. Kevin, not Kevin Delaney. What the hell's his name? Anyway, I think you Canadians would appreciate this. This is some commentary on on how Canada's doing, and it's really self-explanatory. So I'm just going to play it, and then we're going to move on to the article that Kevin O'Leary. Thank you. Is Karen Bass any relation to Felicia Trout? No, but there's a good story. There's a story on Karen Bass. If I have time after GunFox article, maybe I'll do that one too. Anyway, this is Kevin O'Leary talking about the great state of Canada. Here we go. I'll put it on the screen, Marty. There you go. This is self-explanatory on the Daniela Cambone show. Yeah, her name is Daniela Cambone. Yeah. On the Daniela Cambone. Oh my God. Do you think Daniela got any crap as a young lady? She's pretty young still already, but Daniela Cambone. Okay. Here's Kevin O'Leary talking about Canada, and this is self-explanatory, so I'm going to do this without commentary if I can.
When you look at the per capita of Canada, 37 million people, and you look at the natural resources the country has, per capita, it's one of the richest countries on earth, run by complete idiots.
Oh!
And there's no other way to put it. You might as well tell the truth. Bitch. It's so important that Justin Trudeau be thanked for his service and then removed from office. And an election will be coming in the next 18 months. He is the worst manager Canada has ever had. Total incompetency underneath him in the cabinet seats. Total incompetency in almost every mandate. Absolutely the worst I've ever seen. The very, very, very worst.
All right, there you go. Kevin O'Leary has some thoughts about Justin Trudeau and the management of Canada. I think that's very self-explanatory. So there you go. I see. Good morning. Who just started up? Cannibalistic Wizard. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Asking me, did you and Lady Boomer have a fun 420? Well, yeah, because I do not partake in that, and Lady Boomer doesn't have any right now anyway. She only does gummies to sleep. But it was as fun as any other day. We sat around and watched movies all day. So, yes, we had a fine 420 and did not partake in the festivities that go along with 420. So thank you very much for asking. All right, let's do GunFox's article here since he has hijacked the show, dropping a Hamilton in the tip jar. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. This is a MSNBC editorial, it looks like. Oh, here we go. This is, wait, is it a video? No, this is from Glenn Kirshner, MSNBC columnist. And this is an opinion piece. How prosecutors will, quote, draw the string, end quote, during opening statements in Trump's trial. Interesting. The first criminal trial of a former president of the United States turns toward opening statements this week. Criminal litigators neither win nor lose a trial based on their opening statements, but the jurors will begin to form important impressions, not only of the evidence for and or against the charges they will be called upon to decide, but of the attorneys themselves. To understand the different goals and priorities of a prosecutor given an opening statement and those of a defense attorney, we need to start with the basic principles of a criminal trial. Every defendant is presumed innocent unless and until the evidence proves the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden of proof rests solely with the prosecution to the point that the defense is not required to produce any evidence at trial. The goals of a prosecutor opening statement are threefold: concisely provide the jury with the most compelling evidence of the defendant's guilt, preview the weaknesses in the prosecution's case, and build all important credibility with the jury so they view you as an honest broker of the facts and the law. Let's start with the first objective, presentation of evidence. When I had the privilege of serving as chief of the homicide section at the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia, I always told the new homicide prosecutors that they should select the three strongest pieces of evidence, batch them together at the beginning of their opening statement, and use them to figuratively grab the jurors by the throat and never let go. That's some interesting violence imagery. They always talk about Trump talking violent. If, for example, in a robbery case, you have a witness identification of the defendant, you found the victim's stolen property in the defendant's house, and you caught the defendant on surveillance video using a credit card that had been stolen from the victim, you would feature all three facts in your opening statement. It might go along the lines of, quote, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, during the course of this trial, you will see the evidence that an eyewitness who was in a perfect position to see the defendant during the crime positively identified this man, pointing at the defendant, as the person who robbed the victim. You will learn that the wallet stolen from this victim was recovered from the defendant's house during the execution of a search warrant, and you will see with your own eyes a surveillance video that captured the defendant using the credit card that he had stolen from the victims shortly after the robbery. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence will leave no room for doubt but that the defendant committed the crimes for which he's been indicted, and at the end of the case, we will simply ask you to hold the defendant accountable for the crimes he has chosen to commit. And that accountability will come in the form of a guilty verdict. See, you use the strongest evidence at the beginning of your opening statement to put the glasses of guilt, figuratively speaking, on the jurors through which they will then view the evidence during the trial. The second objective is even more important than the first. The prosecutor should be the first one to call the jurors' attention to the weak spots and potential holes in the government's case. Wait, what? The prosecutor should be the first one to call the jurors' attention to the weak spots and potential holes in their own case. The importance of fronting the weaknesses in your case cannot be overstated. Yes, like Eminem did in 8 Mile. You know what I mean? You get your own weaknesses out of the way. Indeed, it's important that criminal litigators even have a name for it: drawing the string. For example, it's no secret that one of the star witnesses in the New York prosecution, former Trump attorney Michael Cohen, comes with significant baggage, to say the least. Cohen lied several times, including under oath in congressional testimony, before ultimately admitting he participated in the charged offenses. Cohen says that his actions were at the direction of and for the benefit of Trump, but the fact that he lied presents obvious credibility challenges that the prosecutors must address. No shit. To do this, prosecutors will undoubtedly argue that much of the time Cohen was lying, he did so to protect his former boss and the bigger criminal fish in this corrupt scheme. The prosecutors also will likely make... No, because he wasn't on trial for that. That was under congressional testimony that he lied. Whatever. Anyway, the prosecutors will likely make clear to the jury that they're not the ones who chose Michael Cohen as a witness. It's Trump, they will argue, who selected the witness by choosing Michael Cohen as his conspirator. By fronting the weaknesses in the case, prosecutors deprive the defense of being the ones to first bring those weaknesses to the jury's attention. The last thing any prosecutor wants to hear a defense attorney's opening statement is, ladies and gentlemen, what the prosecutors failed to tell you is, okay. I wonder if the defendant's attorneys will bring up the fact that what the prosecutors failed to tell you is that bragged also about getting Trump. That was his sole objective anyway. Now, if the jurors see that prosecutors are presenting the good evidence and the bad, the strengths and the weaknesses, they will develop a comfort level with the prosecutors and come to trust them as honest and honorable public servants. The job of the defense attorney, by contrast, is simple. Create doubt, highlight the weaknesses in the evidences, focus on the jury's attention on the credibility deficits of the witnesses and the inconsistencies between witnesses. Oh, you mean like the fact that the federal charge that they are claiming that this is related to is not being charged by the federal government, either from the Biden administration or the former Trump administration, that no, these were not ever charged. Anyway, this might come as a surprise, but beyond not having to produce any evidence, the defense does not even have to make an opening statement, or a defendant can choose to defer his or her opening statement until after the prosecution has presented all of its evidence during what's called the government's case in chief. The advantage to a deferred defense opening is that the defense can highlight and exploit any weaknesses the defense perceives after seeing all the evidence the prosecution presented to the jury. The downside, the defense forgoes the opportunity to give the jury an alternate version of the evidence, a competing theory of the case to think about and hold on to while the jury assesses the prosecution's witnesses and evidence. Another tried and true defense tactic, particularly when the evidence of guilt is strong, attack the prosecutors, attack law enforcement, distract the jury from the evidence by suggesting that something nefarious has gone on in the investigation and the prosecution. Oh, you mean like this entire case? There's an old, perhaps overused saying, if you have the facts on your side, pound on the facts. If you have the law on your side, pound on the law. If you have neither on your side, just pound the table. At the end of the day, the defense attorney is trying to find ways to inject doubt, just a little bit of reasonable doubt, in the mind of at least one juror in hopes of a hung jury. Given the quality and quantity of the evidence that has been publicly reported, no, not for the case he's trying. Not for not the charges he brought. This is a completely novel use of this particular law. So no, it's not. Represents just a fraction of the evidence that likely has been amassed by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's prosecutors. I suspect we will see a fair amount of table pounding from the defense over the course of this historic trial. As both sides make their case, there will be plenty of reporting and analysis reacting to all testimony and every piece of evidence. But at the end of the day, the only opinions that will truly matter is of those 12 jurors sitting in a wooden box in the Manhattan courtroom. Well, thank you, Glenn Kirshner, for that amazing bit of wisdom. But more thank you to Gunfox for dropping it in the tip jar. Thank you for sponsoring the show. All right, we'll finish up with Karen Bass because I don't know if you know who Karen Bass is. Karen Bass was a congressperson, but apparently she is now the mayor of Los Angeles. She ended up winning that race over a bunch of people. And apparently, in the early hours of Sunday morning, the Getty House, the official residence of Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, was infiltrated by a 29-year-old suspect. Mayor Bass, who was president at the time, has previously been a victim of a home break-in as a public official. The incident has ignited discussions on the effectiveness of bail reform policies, which Mayor Bass has advocated for. The suspect is currently in custody. So, let's see. I had it. Oh, that's Havenati. Let's move that. Oh, I see. There we go. So here it is. Suspect arrested for breaking into Los Angeles mayor's home. A suspect was arrested after allegedly breaking into the home of Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass through a window on Sunday morning. Deputy Mayor of Communications Zach Seidel issued a statement confirming that the break-in had occurred at 6:40 a.m., adding that the mayor and her family are safe and had not suffered any injuries. This morning at about 6:40 a.m., an intruder broke into Getty House through a window. Seidel wrote in a statement, Mayor Bass and her family were not injured and are safe. The mayor is grateful to the LAPD for responding and arresting the suspect. Here's what people are saying. Here's Los Angeles. Here, let's read this. So this says Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass had her house burglarized today. Again, I feel zero sympathy for any politician who supported policies to cut the prison population in half. So this is
I mean, it's really an embarrassment on our country that we have more people locked up in the United States than any place in the world. And if you look at the many, many, many people who are locked up, they're locked up because they're poor, because they can't afford bail or they can't afford proper legal defense.
I wonder if Karen Bass has ever even one time said anything about the January 6th defendants who are locked up prior to their trials still after 2 years. I'm just curious. Okay. Locked up. See, people are locked up because they're poor, not the fact that they might have stabbed somebody or shot somebody or, or robbed somebody at gunpoint or stolen their car or, assaulted somebody or whatever. They're all locked up because they're poor.
If you dealt with the poverty aspect, you could probably reduce the population by 50% with that alone. Why are people incarcerated just because they can't make bail? I mean...
Okay, so is it just because they can't make bail? So anyway, so her house was invaded. I'm curious if she will support bail for the person who invaded the mayor's house, or if she'll just invite him over for a cup of tea or something. So anyway, I have a ton of articles in the links today related to all sorts of things. Let's just go through a quick rundown of headlines and what's going to be here, and we'll move from there. We already did. We talked about Michael Avenatti already. I forgot. There's another Mayor Bass thing. So now she's also begging the wealthy to help buy housing for the homeless. Back in fall of 2022, Los Angeles voters passed a referendum for a mansion tax that would impose a new transaction tax on any real estate sale in excess of $5 million, which is not very hard in California. I got to tell you. This was like 10 years ago. We were in California visiting my mother, and there was this like 2-bedroom rambler in Long Beach. And I mean, it may have been 1,500 square feet max. And it just happened to have a for sale sign on it. So we stopped and looked and got one of those little flyers out of there, and it was selling for $1.7 million. I was like, what? What? That'd be like $220 in where I live. Anyway, $1.7 million it was going for. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So anyway, they said new transaction check any real estate sale excess of $5 million. The measure passed with nearly 58% of the vote, and owners of luxury homes were selling their properties as quickly as they could to avoid being hit with the success penalty. The money was supposed to help address issues related to the area's serious homelessness problem. Subsequently, luxury house sales plummeted, and the mansion tax had only raised a fraction of the lofty fiscal target promised to the voters. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Now, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is pleading with the most fortunate to help fund housing for the homeless. She is calling it an unprecedented partnership. She says, "We will not hide people, but what we will do is house people," the Democratic leader touted as she began her remarks on the city's struggle to house over 40,000 homeless people. The crisis on our streets is nothing but less than a disaster. Bass touted the success of her signature Inside Safe program, which moved over 2,100 homeless people into temporary shelters, according to the Associated Press. She insisted the strategy and system of moving the homeless into temporary housing would eventually end the homelessness crisis in Los Angeles. Now he says, I must admit I'm having another attack of schadenfreude. Back in 2022, successful real estate entrepreneur Rick Caruso and then Democratic Congressman Karen Bass were in a dead heat in the race to be the next mayor of Los Angeles. Los Angeles residents were very close to picking a savvy business mogul who might have offered novel solutions to troubling problems. Los Angeles voters chose poorly. Let me just say something, though, about this. At least she's going to the people who are most likely to say something about it. You know what I mean? Like, look, have all the actors that live in California that I'm sure are just would be jumping to have you be their mayor, which they probably voted for you. Ask them to just pitch in. It's like, oh yeah, they hate it when people, they'd say Donald Trump doesn't pay his tax, blah blah blah. You should pay more in tax. Well, I bet all of you actors who make $20 million a film, whatever, could pitch in $2 million. Pitch in $2 million. You can take you can not only pay your taxes, but you can pay extra taxes just to house the homeless that I'm sure you advocate for every day. So listen to Mayor Bass and just give generously. How about that? I'm sure you're just dying to do it, right? So anyway, business owners and residents have begun noticing that the city hasn't followed up on any of its previous promises and have filed a lawsuit. According to the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, the city's leading centralized hub for homeless services, more than 75,500 people were considered homeless in 2023. Holy shit, a 9% increase countrywide. In the city, about 46,200 were considered homeless, a 10% increase from the previous year. Wait, why would that be countrywide? Oh, countywide, excuse me. Fox News Digital reported that a coalition of business owners and residents in LA filed a lawsuit against the city, arguing it did not honor its 2020 settlement agreement that promises that it would build thousands of shelters and sweep out homeless encampments. Last week, Los Angeles City Council agreed to pay an outside firm $2.2 million to audit its homelessness program after a request by a federal judge. So vote in haste, repent in leisure, someone says. She has the nerve to brand it an unprecedented partnership. It's actually quite president. It's socialism. The approach is going over as well as you expect. People saying, how about no? All will be well, though. It's just a matter of time before squatters' rights is embraced as a solution. Some residents in an Arleta neighborhood have raised concerns after a vacant home was taken over by a squatter. But KCAL News' Joyce Benedict was invited into the home where she heard his side of it all. The man, who wished not to be named, moved into the home recently after spending years on the street. I used to stay around in the park, but I came into the abandoned house to start repairing it, he told Benedict. The Los Angeles County Department of Public Safety, along with Los Angeles Police Department and local Los Angeles City Council members' office, have been contacted over the ordeal, but with the owner dead and no family members claiming the property, the process becomes even more complicated. So, well, maybe that person didn't have any relatives, and the man might be able to find a way to homestead it. Anyway, all right, gang, there's a ton of articles. As I said, let's just go through the headlines. Report Biden administration mulls sanctions on religious IDF battalion fighting terrorists in West Bank and Gaza. That's right on brand for Joe Biden. My God, these religious people. Prime Minister Netanyahu slams the move to sanction IDF servicemen while they fight Hamas terrorists in Gaza as absurdity and a moral low. You got to read that one for yourself. In Daily Caller, Josh Hammer says the Obama-Biden doctrine to punish America's allies in the Middle East and reward its enemies, which is what they're doing in that case. And then also the fact that he wanted to use Israel to use restraint after being attacked by Iran. So it's interesting. Legal insurrection. Apparently an Iran-backed militia hit by airstrike in Iraq. Israel denies involvement. The Jerusalem Post says significant strikes were carried out overnight between Friday and Saturday against targets of Iranian-backed militias in Iraq. And it doesn't say, they haven't said who did the attack. Let's see, significant strikes carried out between Friday and Saturday against targets of Iranian-backed militias in Iraq, south of Baghdad, reported by Saudi-owned Al Hadath Network. Additionally, Iraqi media claimed that the attack was carried out by a number of drones targeting a military base belonging to the militias. Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces said that Saturday that the explosion took place at its command post at Khazla military base, and that was the result of the attack. Okay. In Breitbart, Palestinian ruling party admits that Hamas steals aids and kills aid workers in Gaza. Fatah, the so-called moderate ruling party of the Palestinian Authority, has admitted on live television that Hamas steals humanitarian aid and kills workers in the Gaza Strip. Anybody shocked? The whole article's there. In the American Thinker, we got Middle Eastern war being waged across America's southern border. Apparently there is Hezbollah has partnered with some of the cartels and now are bringing Hezbollah people through Mexico, who will probably penetrate our southern border, who will probably end up in a city near you. Isn't that special? In the National Pulse, thank you. Apparently, also a bloodthirsty gang, as they call it, continues to infiltrate America. This is a gang from Venezuela known as, where is it? Intelligence from the Custom and Border Protection Agency, CBP, indicates that members of Tren de Aragua continue to enter the U.S. illegally. The National Post previously reported that the brother of Jose Ibarra, the Venezuelan illegal immigrant who murdered Georgia nursing student Laken Riley, is a suspected member of Tren de Aragua. They're a nasty gang out of Venezuela, and they don't care who they kill. So look forward to that. Also, Biden has dropped $300 million of your cash on sanctuary cities. The Biden regime's Department of Homeland Security is allocating $300 million to sanctuary cities offering support such as shelter and food to illegal aliens. In light of the surge of border crossings, this funding will be channeled through the Shelter and Services Program. The SSP funds non-federal bodies such as non-government organizations and local governments that aid illegal aliens who are released into the United States. And the total funding, $275 million, will be dispensed initially, and the remaining $25 million set aside for later in the year, which means they will spend 3 times that much, because that's how it works in government. There's a good article in, this is a terrible article actually, by Lanny Davis, former Clinton advisor and attorney, talking about a bipartisan presidency, and he's saying that Biden should fill his cabinet with Democrats and anti-Trump Republican conservatives just to show that he's got a coalition. When you read it, you'll think it's a Babylon Bee article. I'm just saying. In PJ Media, what was this one? I can't remember. Democratic representative introduces a bill to make it easier to kill Trump. Representative Bernie Thompson, who led the J6 committee on Friday, introduced a bill to, quote, terminate United Secret Service protection for felons, end quote. Thompson evidently doesn't count a competent prose stylist among his handlers, for the short title of this bill is as verbose and as grandiose, self-important, and silly. This is, wait, where is it? Where is the name of the act? Here's the act. It's called Denying Infinite Security and Government Resources Allocated Toward Convicted and Extremely Dishonorable Former Protectees Act, or the Disgraced Former Presidential Protectees Act. So he wants to strip Donald Trump of his Secret Service detail if he's convicted in any of these courts under a felony. Gee, isn't that special? Daily Wire, not popping up. Let's try this one again. Oh, goodness. Oh, and the irony of that was the shot. Well, here's the chaser. Hillary Clinton suggests that Trump wants to kill his opposition. So one Democrat wants to take away Trump's Secret Service protection, and Hillary claims that Trump wants to kill his opposition. Now, I distinctly remember, and I not necessarily distinctly remember, but I have heard, and before I say this, let me just reiterate that I am not sad. I have heard that the Clinton folks, Clinton, Hillary, Bill, the whole family, I've heard that they may have killed a few people. I'm not sad. I am not sad. I am not, as in the words of Jussie Smollett, I am not suicidal. Just saying. Apparently, clear violation of the wall. This is Daily Caller. Biden's multi-billion-dollar broadband plan defies a congressional mandate, according to experts. Apparently, the National Telecommunication and Information Administration, part of the Department of Commerce, is responsible for allocating $42.5 billion in funds intended to bolster the United States broadband internet infrastructure through the Broadband Equity Access and Development Program, BEAD. The agency, in a move to expand high-speed internet access to low-income communities, has been attempting to force states to adopt price controls for broadband services provided through the new projects, a strategy experts say could be illegal. They probably are, but Biden will do it anyway. All right, and there's a couple more articles, but I got to go. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. I am so happy you showed up. I have to be back here tomorrow at about the same time. Maybe I'll be on time again tomorrow. I'll try. I'll see what happens. But in the meantime, I am going to drop all these links in the show today to the one-tab link, which goes in the chat at the end of the show, also to be in the description, because for some reason my computer hasn't been processing the links into the one tab fast enough. So if you don't see them in the chat, they will be in the description of both Rumble and YouTube. Thanks for joining me today. It's time for me to go. My name is P-Dog Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.